Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Thepprasit Road, and just up there behind me now is Thepprasit Market, night market. But just down the road here is the second-hand market, which very rarely gets shown. And it's interesting. I mean, well, I thought we could have a walk around here and then walk up and have a little walk around Thepprasit Market, the non-food part, because we did the food part the other day. So the whole point of this video is about costs of living in Thailand. Okay, so we're going to go through a chart. I've done a new chart, updated chart, and I'm going to show you everything that I think you need to spend, the main things, on costs on living here. Okay, so let me put the chart up to start with, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Now we'll go through each of the items, starting with the condo renter, and work our way down. And I'll put the chart up again each time we get to a new item. Okay. Now most of these costs are what I personally pay on a monthly basis. So it's not some random made-up figures, it's the real thing. But one major fact which is different from all previous charts I've done is I'm not including any company at all. So this is just the cost of living, not any company. So it's an updated chart which I've done some changes from the one I did a year ago, and there are a couple of costs which are different from many personal ones for different people, because I made a couple of choices which are variables, and I'll go through those as we work our way through the chart. Okay. Now the first item is of course where you're going to live. Now this could be a rented condo just on the edge of the city, or maybe in Jomtien, but I've put the cost down as 12,000 baht a month, which is $330. Now it's quite a low figure, but I think it's a fair average, and it's possible to get a small house in East Pattaya for 12,000 baht as well, if you like houses. I mean, you may have seen some of the houses in the gated communities across Sukhumvit Road in East Pattaya. If you want to live nearer the central Pattaya, then you probably need to get a condo. Now what I've noticed about the condo market is that the older ones are usually bigger and cheaper. And if you stay away from the beach, or you stay in Jomtien, then you generally get more for your money. And we all have different priorities, so some people will prefer to spend more of their budget on where they live and maybe less on eating out in restaurants. For example, I like to cook for myself. That way I know what I'm eating. So I don't eat out in restaurants very much. And I spend more than 12,000 on my condo. But you create your own balance to suit your lifestyle. And the figure of 12,000 I've used is a realistic one. And you could find a place to live full-time in Pattaya for that price, no question. Not just for a few weeks on vacation. Okay. Now the second cost on the chart, let me just show you, pop it up for a second again. Visa agents' fees. Now some of you guys will be saying, why do you need to use an agent? Just go down to immigration in Jomtien and do it there, and just for a few thousand baht. Nice if it was as easy as that, but it's not. The first problem you'll come across is that you need to open a Thai bank account and put 800,000 Thai baht into that account, which is 22,000 US dollars, or 18,000 British pounds, or 20,000 euros, or 34,000 Australian dollars, or 30,000 Canadian dollars. Okay, and that money needs to have been in that account, which you don't yet have, for 3 months before you apply for your visa. And that's not the only catch-22. There's another one. Now if you walk into a Thai bank and try to open an account, then they'll ask you for your residence visa or retirement visa, not a tourist visa. That won't do. So That's the visa that you don't actually yet have because you need a bank account to get it. With 800,000 Thai baht in that account, okay? That's catch 22 number 2. And then there, of course, is the 800,000 baht. Many people don't have that money just sitting around that they could transfer into Thailand. Other people would be very reluctant to transfer that amount to Thailand. They just wouldn't trust them. Then there's all the paperwork you have to put together, not only for immigration but also for a Thai bank account. They require documents from your embassy. Then there's all the hours of work you need to put into it. You want to try to do it yourself. And lastly, of course, you need to have the 800,000 Thai baht sitting around and available for transfer. So that covers not using an agent. Now I'll explain why I use an agent. It's mainly to avoid the hassle and cost and just make your life easier. Firstly, you want an O visa, not an OA visa, because you don't want to have to buy expensive health insurance from a Thai-only company, which you have to do with an OA visa, which is the one which is provided by the Thai embassies around the world. Now, ideally, you should get a 60-day tourist visa from a Thai embassy in your own country, easy to do, then come into Thailand using that. On your second day you arrive in Thailand, go to see a recommended visa agent in Pattaya, like the one I use, which is Key Visa, but there are many others, and tell them you want a retirement visa. If you're over 50, of course, you have to be over 50, and they will do everything for you, which includes opening a bank account with Bangkok Bank usually, and facilitating the 800,000 baht for you, really, and also doing all the paperwork. And you will need to supply certain items like a letter from your landlord, but the agent will tell you what you need to get and what you need to supply, and they'll help you to get it. Then they will deal with everything at immigration. You do nothing really except turn up and have your picture taken. Recently there is a second check about 3 weeks later, but the agent will also deal with that. So all of the hassle is removed, and you can keep your money in your home country, and if you feel more secure that way. Of course, they charge a fee for this excellent service, and the first time is the big one. After that it gets much cheaper, but they have to do, the first time they have to do 2 visas, not only the O visa but also the retirement visa together, and then you end up getting 15 months, not a year. They'll open a bank account for you, and the first time it's really like a capital expenditure, if you like, because it's a one-off payment, it's not to be repeated, and that's around 35,000 baht roughly, about $950 US. But each year after that it's about half of that. So I've put a recurring expense in as 1,500 baht a month, which is about 18,000 baht a year. So that covers the second cost. Now, if you're watching the video, you just saw me walk up from the second-hand market up to this is the beginning, very beginning of the night market, the main night market. These shoes, for example, they are very cheap, but they're brand new. This is not second-hand. This is all brand new stuff here. Okay. So we'll have a walk down and we'll have a look at all this stuff. There's so much stuff here, and we'll continue with the further costs. Okay, we'll just run through the chart again. I'll show you again the next cost. Okay. Now the third cost is electric and water, and before you take a condo, it's very important that you check how much they are charging for the electricity and the water. Now, a decent condo will only charge government rate or very close to it, which is currently about 5 baht a unit for electricity and 30 baht a unit for water. Now, obviously it does vary quite a little bit depending on the condos, but not much. Now, some residences, particularly ones right in the city centre, which act more like a hotel really than a condo, will increase this rate substantially, even doubling the government rate, in order to subsidise their lower room rental prices. Now, I remember 13 years ago when I took my first ever condo, it was just off Cybercow, and I stayed there for a year without realising that they were charging me double government rate for electricity and water. I had no idea at that time. And the bill was about 3,500 baht for both. Now compare that to now, when I have a condo twice the size of the one I had before, and the electricity and water is at government rate now, and I only pay 1,800 a month for both. It's a saving which adds up, you know. So I've rounded up the cost on the chart to 2,000 baht for a month for electricity and water. So moving on to the next cost. Let me just put the chart up again. Yeah, food. Yeah, that really is a very variable cost, isn't it? I mean, I put it up at 10,000 baht, but that's probably a bit low for most people, but not for me, because I cook for myself. I have a nice kitchen, and I like cooking, and I cook for myself. And I rarely eat out, just sometimes as a treat, you know. I buy fresh fruit and veg from the market, and fresh chicken or pork from Big C supermarket, and I cook a stir fry or something like that in a big wok, which lasts me for a few days in the refrigerator. I have cereal for breakfast, and sometimes something like a quiche or a sandwich at lunch, and then my stir fry for the main meal. So I really don't spend much more than 200 or 300 baht a day on regular food. Obviously that doesn't include the odd meal out, like last night for example, when I went out to Hobbs on Beach Road, which I really like. I took a young lady there and we had a rack of pork ribs and a pizza between us, and the price was 1,500 baht, which is $40 US. But you can't be doing that every night, can you, you know? I mean, a lot of people I know will say 10,000 baht is nowhere near enough for food. I accept that, and I'm sure many people would double that. So if that's you, then just add 10,000 baht to the total figure, because all the other figures probably match up. And as I said, food really is a variable. Okay, what's the next cost? The phone or mobile data and Wi-Fi. And the next one as well, soft drinks and drinking water. So with regard to the phone, it's around about 500 baht. I mean, I use AIS, and it's about 500 baht for the phone and the Wi-Fi. And that doesn't vary much. Most people are that sort of figure. So that's it for the cost of the phone and mobile Wi-Fi, okay? Then, of course, the next one was soft drinks and water, so you don't get dehydrated. Now, I think 1,200 baht is enough for most guys. I don't think we need to really go into that. The next one is getting around, and if you're living here, many guys will buy themselves a motor scooter or a motorbike. And certainly 800 baht, which is the figure I put in for fuel, is enough for knocking around Pattaya for a month, just for fuel for your motorbike. No problem. Now, if you don't want to use a bike, which many people don't, I understand that. If you're not experienced, it's not a good idea. If you want to use Bolt taxis instead, then your average trip around Pattaya with a Bolt taxi is about 50 baht. So I say twice a day. You use a bolt, so that's like 3,000 baht a month. So you can put that figure in instead. So just use it as a guide and adjust the chart to suit yourself. Okay, next one. Beer. Now this one's probably the biggest variable of all, I would think. I mean, it can vary from nothing at all, zero for some guys, to a major cost for others. Now we're talking about living here, not coming on vacation, and it's not the same thing at all. When you're on vacation, you'll drink far more beer than you would in a normal everyday life in your own country. And you cannot continue like that when you come to live here, because you'll become an alcoholic and you'll pickle your liver. So that must change when you come to live here. I mean, last year I did a cost chart for coming to live here stay here for 2 weeks on vacation. And many of you guys said there was way too much beer on the chart, while some other guys said they drank at least that much beer on a holiday. So it does seem that there's a large variation on this. That being the case, I've tried to go down the middle of the road with this chart, taking into account the fact that you don't want to live here and end up drinking yourself to death. Okay, right, next one. Medical insurance. Now this is a contentious one. I mean, the price I've given is realistic if you're in good health and in your 50s. However, as you get older, into your 60s, the cost sees a steep increase year by year. Then as you get to 70, some insurance companies simply refuse to insure you, or the cost becomes prohibitive. Now, the alternative, which some guys I know have taken, is to self-insure. Now, what that means, some guys have set aside in, say, a Bangkok bank account, a good sized sum of about, say, 1 million baht, which they never touch, and is their emergency fund in case of an accident or a health emergency. Now, by serendipitous coincidence, it just happens to be a similar amount you need to show in a bank for your retirement visa, should you decide to go down that route. Okay, now then, the last three are fairly simple. I'll just put those up now. Laundry. And if you have a washing machine in your condo, then it's virtually free. I mean, if not, there's lots of coin-operated laundrettes everywhere, and you don't need a dryer in this country. Not like you do in the West. You just take the clothes from the washing machine after it's spun and hang them out on your balcony, and they dry in a couple of hours, you know. There's plenty of laundries around if you can't be bothered to do it yourself, or for bigger items like a duvet or a dunny, but that will cost you more. But it's not expensive at all. In the next one, toiletries, like basically anything is available toiletry wise at the big C supermarkets. And lastly, about 1,000 baht is the standard sort of average figure for a Wi-Fi in your actual condo and cable TV together. Now, as I said at the beginning, the cost chart does not include any company deliberately, because that really is the biggest variable of all and probably deserves its own video. I mean, I haven't included company so you guys can get a true cost figure without any distractions, and then it's up to you how much you want to spend on extras, on pleasure. Now, talking about pleasure, don't forget to look below and click more to see the best uncut Soy 6 videos on Patreon. And please subscribe and like and share and ring the bell. and thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it informative, and I shall see you on the next video.